Okay, let's do a Bible study. Genesis 24, of course, once again, we'll be finishing the chapter if I could make it more than one verse. Starting in verse 53. Then the servant brought out jewelry of silver, jewelry of gold, and clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious things to her brother and to her mother. And he and the men who were with him ate and drank and stayed all night. Then they arose in the morning, and he said, "Send me away to my master." But her brother and her mother said, "Let the young lady stay with us a few days, at least 10. After that she may go." And he said to them, "Do not hinder me, since the Lord has prospered my way. Send me away so that I may go to my master." So they said, "We will call the young woman and ask her personally." Then they called Rebekah and said to her, "Will you go with this man?" And she said, "I will go." So they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, "O our sister, may you become the mother of thousands of 10,000s, and may your descendants possess the gates of those who hate them." So, here's the deal. We got a couple cool things in here, and it's just pretty straight and simple. We've been looking at this picture of the father having the servant, the helper, go and acquire a bride for his son. And you'll notice that when the bride comes, when she commits to be married to the son, he gives her gifts, all sorts of gifts. And the cool thing is that even her family gets gifts, and it's like they get blessed through her obedience, that she is gifted and that other people through her are going to receive those gifts. And that's the work of the Holy Spirit. Is he wants to take us believers and he wants to give us gifts, and he wants us to be blessing other people as well, working in us and through us. But you'll notice this too, which is just a good reminder that right there at the moment where she makes a decision, I'll go and marry the son, I'll be one with him, all of a sudden family, people, they begin to kind of tug and, well, maybe just hang out a little longer. Would you stay with us and just hang out here for a while? And the Spirit, the helper, he says, "No, listen, you need to go. You need to get moving. You need to get this show on the road, right?" And they try and hinder her from moving on the way she should go. 2 Corinthians 6:2, it tells us today is the day of salvation. You know, that we need to not let these things hinder us. And I think one of the biggest things, good morning, Laura, is that quite often we allow things to hinder us at the beginning of our walk. While we were early Christians, we just got saved, we just started doing this thing, we let things stunt our growth then. And that's like the most critical time of growth, right? You know, if a baby gets injured or stunted in those early days after birth, it can have huge impacts on the rest of their life. And here we have Rebekah. She's ready to go, and the people want to drag, "Oh no, stay with us, just 10 days, just 10 days. And you know, I think with new believers, they have this new believer zeal. They're excited about Jesus, they're excited about their faith, and quite often, if they don't get plugged in with a good Bible teaching church, with other Christians who will help teach them and disciple them and encourage them and rebuke them and refine them and all these things that fellowship does, well, they're going to find themselves hindered in their growth. And so verse 58, she says, "I will go." And here we have no delay in obedience. She realizes the moment she knows what God is calling her to, she doesn't delay, she doesn't wait around, she just goes. And that's what we need to be looking at doing. We need to go when God says go. We need to not sit around twiddling our thumbs. And I think, again, that's something that has hurt the growth of many Christians, is that they're excited and they're ready to do something with their faith, and they don't know where to go because there's not a body of believers who are discipling them. There is not a church that's going to really feed them. That's really going to build them up. This is something where, we find there's different places and different times for different things. And, quite often at our church in the morning, I spend time on exhortations that can kind of hit any level, But on Sunday nights is where I really try and do the teaching that is to strengthen the believer, that someone who is a Christian would go in there and they're going to learn that stuff that's really going to make them stronger in their faith. I kind of just take for granted, not always, but that the people who come then, they're all going to be Christians, they're all believers, and they all are going to be needing that edification. They're ready for some meat and potatoes, right? And so we want to see that. We want to see new believers dive in, and we want to see them be obedient to the calling, and we want to see teaching and feeding taking place. And so notice her family says, well, let's just hang out for 10 days. It's amazing how quite often family can be one of the biggest hindrances to your growth as a Christian, because they knew you the way you were. And they want you to stay the way you've always been. And quite often it's, come to the birthday parties. Come out to this, come out to that. Come on. It's just church. And it is. And it's not like they're out to get you. They're your family. They love you. And Rebekah's family loved her. But notice what the helper has to say. Do not hinder me. Since the Lord has prospered my way, send me away that I may go to my master. The idea is that the road is paved. Don't kill this momentum we've got going. There's a zeal and there's a love and there's a thing that this person wants to go. Don't hinder it. And so, Christian, don't be hindered. There are 1,000 things that are going to tug at you and say, oh, come over here and come over there and do this and do that. There's some real growth that can take place if you won't be drawn away by these other things. If you'll go all in and fully commit to that marriage with Jesus Christ, getting to know him more deeply and intimately. So, I think I left enough space that we should be able to easily finish, easily finish our chapter tomorrow, after spending like 2 weeks in Genesis 24. So, we're moving right along. We're like halfway through the book. And I keep thinking things are going to pick up, but it's been good either way. So, God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. and the day after that at 7:30 a.m. and the day after that at 7:30 a.m. right here on Facebook. I'll catch you guys around.